we bond beyond compare. For the homies we ride, together side by side. Podcast loud and clear, every episode's a vibe. Memories and tales of old, legends grow, the stories unfold. Hard times turn to gold, in this world we hold our own. For the homies we ride, together side by side. Podcast loud and clear, every episode's a vibe. Voices join in harmonies, echoes of our histories. Homies keeping it real true, every week something new.
Hello, everybody. I know it's not Thursday night. I know what that means. It's another exciting episode for the Homies podcast. Before we introduce our very special guest for tonight, Crease, how's it going, brother?
Well, if you guys saw the little clip video of me having the video sideways, listen, it doesn't take a rocket science to get a huge YouTuber right here. So, but other than that, it's Friday afternoon, and you could have been anywhere, but you're here with us. Phantom, go ahead, introduce our guest, man.
For the first time ever on For the Homies podcast, the man, the myth, the legend, the Critical Drinker!
What's up, gentlemen? How are you doing?
We've been waiting for this. It's like, so we've been like hinting towards you coming on, and Chris has been like, we've been like, every time we do a show, we're like, we got NDA, we can't say who's coming on.
Well, I'm glad I could be here. I feel like I should start by apologizing, actually, because we've been trying to set this up for like 2 or 3 months, and man, I just like
2 or 3 months.
Schedules are a nightmare. But yeah, I'm glad I could be here to join you guys for this. So thanks for having me on.
Awesome, dude. Anytime, brother. Anytime. You're always welcome back. Oh, dude. So, Phantom, like, do you have a chance to the chat or?
All right, so let's see who is here today. We got our usual suspects. We got at the very beginning, we got UK Gamer, our brother from across the pond. We have the Nerd Files, Nerd Slap. We got the one, the only Vagabond. Our brother he's on our anime show every Saturday night. We have we got Doc. Welcome, Doc.
Hello,
and
Doc.
we got Mo Zamboni.
Mo Zamboni? The Mo Zamboni? Damn, man.
Well,
oh yeah, we know.
I've just been killing time until he got here.
One of our good friends. If it wasn't for the GCA, the homies wouldn't exist today. Yeah, and we got Garbage Bag is here. What's up, everybody? We got Isaac. Isaac, our local homosexual.
Oh, he's gonna get you back in Discord later on, bro.
Yeah.
We got Erwin's New Potato. We got Nagranol. Man, we got so many people. Thank you guys for coming in. If you're new to the channel, hit subscribe. We got Nightsaber, 3-finger Nightsaber, and So, Chris, I think you want to talk to Drinker about some Cobra Kai stuff, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. So Drinker, I was watching your Cobra Kai podcast, It was a tremendous podcast, by the way. But there's only one thing that I had to disagree with you on. And like, shout out to my boys from the Kings of Pop Culture. They wanted me to ask you this question. They were saying like, so Daniel's daughter Samantha LaRusso, like
Yes,
how you were
best
saying
fighter
that
in
she
the
wasn't
entire
a good.
show.
She's the best fight. She is technically the best fighter. It's like like a lot of people felt like you didn't give her actual good props on like how you so how do you feel about?
Okay. I mean, I think she did her best, and you can tell that she put in a little bit more work on training. Like they really wanted like her final fight to be something kind of impressive. It's just tough because the actress that plays Tori, is it Peyton?
Mary Mauser. For Peyton? Peyton List for Tori?
Peyton List, yeah, sorry. I think she's a much more capable fighter. I think she moves better and stuff. And when you have Sam, like, she's just so slow, and you can tell how hard she's having to work to remember her choreography. And God bless her, she tries her best. Yeah, but then it's
Mary
weird
be
because,
trying.
like, you see her when both of them, like when they're put up against like that girl who's an actual real fighter in the real world. I can't remember the character's name, but she's the one who's always on social media and stuff. She is a rocket. She is lightning fast, and she just makes both of them look like freaking blue whales.
The actress's name is Raina. The actress's name is Raina. Like she's a pretty damn good martial artist. She's pretty fast. She's really good. But since we're on Cobra Kai or like the Karate Kid franchise, how do you feel about the new Karate Kid soulless cash grab that Sony's been to do?
I'm still trying to get my head around how this works, right? So is this going to be like a continuation of Cobra Kai, or is it just going to ignore all that and just go from the Karate Kid movies straight onto this?
I think it's like it's all connected. It does a time skip. It's a time skip.
It's a time skip. And like Sony, the owners of Sony, basically made everything canon. So like everything that's Karate Kid, Cobra Kai related, it's all one universe now. However,
right.
I also got to talk with the guy that did actually did the show, Hayden Schlossberg or whatever. Like it's all one show, and like depending on who you ask in the Cobra Kai community, like. I like Jackie Chan's Karate Kid, but I did not want it to be part of this at all.
Yeah. I mean, he obviously had to work with Jaden Smith, right? And not the best actor. But Jackie Chan himself is obviously a legend in martial arts movies, and he's pretty entertaining on screen. So if you ditch Jaden and you get Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio teaming up to train someone new, okay, there's a bit of fun to be had there, but I'll just go out and say it, man. Like, without Johnny Lawrence, I'm kind of not interested. Like, he was the heart of Cobra Kai. Always was.
So there is some news about that. They said that Johnny is supposed to. They said Johnny is supposed to be making a cameo or something like that. Like he's supposed to be in the movie. Like
I need more than just a cameo. Damn it! I want him to be a main character.
I mean,
I want him to be a main character.
Like for myself, I seen season 1 of Cobra Kai when it was on YouTube Red, and I enjoyed it. I love seeing certain characters come back, and then they moved over to Netflix, and I'm like, this is not as good as it was on YouTube Red. It was okay. It was okay, but for me, it's like I wasn't like the biggest Karate Kid fan, because really Daniel LaRusso is the bad guy in the series.
Yeah,
plain and simple, he is the bad guy.
He's a dick.
And it's like I mean, Pat Morita, phenomenal actor, and I was so worried when they were talking about the flashback, and then, you see Pat Morita come back, and I'm like, oh, this is not going to be good. And I was like, I was right.
Yeah, the CGI Pat Morita deepfake.
Yeah, the CGI.
That was rough, man. I mean, they shot that fight.
That was rough.
Tried to disguise it a little bit, but it still looked pretty bad. And I just wish they hadn't done it. There was no need to do it.
Okay, Drinker. What was worse, Skinwalker Luke Skywalker or Skinwalker Pat Morita?
I mean, just from a technical point of view, I think Skinwalker Pat Morita, just like you could tell the budget wasn't there, and so it was rougher. But
they didn't get a big budget in the last season or whatever. From what Hayden was saying, like their budget was limited in the last season because Netflix wanted to get it done or whatever. Because for me and my boys always said that for some reason Netflix treats Cobra Kai like the redheaded stepchild. You don't get no promotion whatsoever, man. So
I mean, like it did have a big like presence, I guess, just amongst the fan community. But I get what you mean. Like it felt like they perhaps could have invested a bit more advertising in it. But I mean, I'm glad that we got it. I'm glad that it got made and they got the ending that they wanted to do. It wasn't cancelled after like 3 seasons or something. There was loads of stuff left hanging. And yeah, man, I remember,
for sure.
Much like yourself, I tuned in for that very first episode on YouTube Red. We paid you had to pay something crazy like 50 cents,
like $9.99
per episode. Per episode, you had to buy it as if you were renting it off Amazon or something, right? And like I thought, I'll tune in just see what it's like. And that first episode, it's like, holy shit, it has no right to be this good. It has no right to be this funny and this heartfelt and just this interesting. And I was hooked from then on. And as much as, you could tell the difference when it moved to Netflix, it did become, like, it wasn't quite as edgy. You could tell they softened bits of it, and they started to focus way too much on, like, the younger characters who were just kind of annoying at first. It grew on me a little bit.
So, I always told me and my friends, like, we always said, like, seasons 1, 2, and 3 felt like a solid story. And then, like, when it got to season 4, 5, and 6, when Terry Silver came in, that's when it just started to go from it went from like grounded in reality to like fantastical, like real quick. This man is like
dude. Silver was
picking on little kids.
Villain. Yeah, he was a great villain in the third movie.
Oh yeah,
but in the series is like, why is he even here?
I think they needed like a bigger bad than just Kreese. So
they needed a bigger bad than Kreese. Yeah, they need a bigger bad than Kreese.
And the fact that he's got like loads of money and stuff, it allows him to do more. He's like more powerful. And so that was kind of interesting. And yeah, man, I just love that moment where he's like confessing. Like, I don't know what the hell I was doing. It was the 80s. I was high on coke. I devoted my whole life to picking on some teenage kid for some reason.
Like they made Karate Kid 3 make sense now. He was saying like, I was so jacked up on cocaine. It's ridiculous me talking about it. Like,
but the show always kind of walked that line of like, sort of acknowledging how ridiculous it was, but also just taking it just seriously enough that like you could buy into it, and it was kind of making sense. And I don't know, man. There was that scene. I think it was the end of season 5, where there was a big fight scene in Terry Silver's house, right? And like Terry Silver's going after Chosen with a samurai sword and shit. And I was like, damn, people are actually going to get killed here.
I mean, to be fair, like they try to break into his house, so he kind of had every right to defend himself.
Oh yeah. But it's just like it went from like, oh, we're doing karate tournaments and just kind of picking on each other and stuff to like straight up trying to murder each other now with swords. Like, this is getting real now.
I think
it's getting real up in here.
I think Kreese. I mean, spoilers. You put your fingers in your ears if you don't want to hear this. But the Kreese and Silver's death was so anticlimactic. I'm like, what the fuck?
No mercy.
Yeah. Blowing up the entire yacht. I mean, it was pretty epic. It's like at that point, it was like we were in a Steven Seagal action movie or something. It was just insane.
Yeah.
Lights on a boat. And so I don't know how it was happening. They just needed to get rid of those characters. You know, they needed them out of the story at that point so they could then focus on just
so on that, Drinker, like, you know, Martin Cove, the one that does Sensei Kreese or whatever, like he's saying like this is his head canon. He's saying like, nah, I ain't dead. Like
Kreese could survive that. When he threw that, he could have jumped over the side of the boat and lived through that. I could see that.
Kreese seems like the kind of guy who would survive that. Yeah, there's just no stopping that dude.
It's like he says he's died like so many times, so it's like yeah, I'm back. Like, what's up? Don't ask
They
any
gave him.
questions. I'm here. Like,
I mean, some of my favorite episodes though were like the flashbacks to him when he was like a teenager and just like this dorky
And,
kid and
oh
joins
yeah,
the army.
season
Goes to
3,
Nam.
season 3, yeah,
Yeah,
season 3 was on point. Yeah,
and
think
that
so
was
you're
like the
like, yeah,
best,
I totally
arguably the
get
best
him.
season.
Yeah, and it's like, okay,
Yeah.
he's a villain for sure, but like, I get why he ended up the way he did, and I kind of feel a little bit of sympathy for him because he's been fucked over his whole life, and it's like, yeah, okay, I get you.
Yeah,
I think that's good writing.
yeah.
So we're gonna pivot a little bit here, and I'm gonna talk about Andor a little bit
Okay.
because so I saw Open Bar last night, and you're actually enjoying Andor right now.
I can't believe what I'm about to say, but like Disney have made a good Star Wars TV show with Andor.
Dun,
And I
dun,
mean that.
dun.
Yeah, and it's not a bit, it's not a gag or anything. Like it's genuinely, I don't think I've been so gripped, and I don't think I've felt like actual tension watching anything as
Mhm.
much as I did with episode 8 of that show. I mean,
Mhm.
that was just an absolute masterclass in writing, performance, direction, everything
Mhm.
just came together in that episode, man. And I think everyone who's watched it probably knows what I'm talking about. It was incredibly well done. And I think,
Well-
yeah, this show's going to be looked back pretty fondly, I think, in the years to come.
Well, why do you, in your opinion, why can't they make other shows as good as Andor? I mean, I never got a chance to watch either season, but I've heard good things. I've heard your reviews on it, and I've seen other people talk about it. It's like it's the most popular. It's probably one of the most popular Star Wars shows on Disney Plus that nobody watched.
Yes.
Is
It's got this like small fan base, but man, like they appreciate it. And it's just a reminder that hey, you can actually like make Star Wars grown up. They can be mature, the characters can be smart,
Yeah.
the adults can be in the room again, right? And it doesn't always have to revolve around lightsabers and the Force and all that stuff. Like there can be more to the
Yeah.
Star Wars universe, and this is a great example of what you can do there. And I think, yeah, the reason we haven't had other things like that, it comes down to the creatives. Like Tony Gilroy's worked on
Yeah.
this and Rogue One, and that's basically it. Maybe
I
he
was
can
gonna
do more
say
after this.
Rogue One. Yeah, Rogue One
I
is like
one of the
always
best
been
Disney-
received.
Mhm.
That's the best to me? That's the best Disney Star Wars movie. Like that's the one that I can rewatch. Like like I can't rewatch any of the sequels, but I can rewatch Rogue One. Like I watched it the other day.
Yeah.
For
If you
like
can
Star
look
Wars
over,
week.
like, if you can look past, Skinwalker Leia at the end, which is really creepy, but apart from that, like the rest of the movie is pretty solid, and the action sequences are fantastic. I think the cast does a good job, and it doesn't mess with the chronology of Star Wars, and it doesn't mess with
Mhm.
the rest of the events of the series. So it plays into it quite nicely, and I think it is just a one good example of something halfway decent that Disney have done. And like you say, yeah, it's the one I would rewatch quite happily. It's fine, but Andor is like over and above that. It's way more complex, way more intelligent. Yes, it's definitely a slow burn. It doesn't have those big blowout action scenes that you want necessarily.
Yeah.
But it's worth it. Like, and when you get those payoffs, man, they are so well set up. They are so satisfying when they happen.
Well, do you believe
Yeah.
the reason why Andor is so good is Dave Filoni doesn't have his grubby little fingers mixed in, in the kitchen with this show?
I
at
can only
all?
assume so, yeah. I can only assume so because there would be like fucking baby Yodas floating around and like, how about we inject some goofy humor in here and like let's have a stormtrooper trip over something because that'll be funny, right? And any chance we could have a cameo from Ahsoka because that's like literally the only character he can like never see past. It would just be all that, and like it's sad because I know no matter what I say or anyone else says, really, it's not going to convince people to watch this show in large enough numbers. And this could end up just being the one time they experimented on something like this. And to their credit, they put a lot of money into it. They put I think $650 million for these 2 seasons.
Wow.
Of Andor. That is a lot of money. They could have made 2 or 3 movies with that. But instead they spent it on this, but not enough people have watched it to make it worthwhile.
So let me ask you this, Drinker. Since glad that you said that, because this is a pretty good show, And I know how me and you and everybody else feels about Thunderbolts. Is it one of those things where like the audience might like it, but since there's not enough audience members that are going to it, people will pass up on it, type of thing? Is
Yeah,
it
it's
they
the
ruined
same
their
deal.
brand so badly to no one doesn't want to watch it or something like that?
Yeah, it is brand damage, right? Because this does impact, even if a movie is well received, it's going to impact how many people go to see it. Because it was the same deal with what was it, Skeleton Crew with Star Wars. Like, obviously, it's the opposite end of the spectrum from Andor in that it's a kiddie show and that sort of thing. But it's a perfectly fun little adventure, and it's fine. Like we watched it. We watched it and thought, yeah, it was okay. Actually, I think they did a good job with that. Didn't matter. No one watched it because Star Wars as a brand is kind of dead now. And a show like Andor isn't going to be enough to bring it back. A show like Skeleton Crew isn't going to be enough. The MCU, not quite as dead, but is still suffering from a lot of the same problems. And we've had really 5 years of slop from them. So that has really hurt them to this point. And Thunderbolts, personally, I didn't think it was a great movie, but I know like audiences generally have liked it. But they're not going to see it in large enough numbers because there's just not enough enthusiasm for the MCU anymore. And I think the Fantastic Four will suffer from the same problem. It's not going to flop, I don't think. It's not going to come away with like 200-300 million. It'll still do okay, I think, but nowhere near as good as it should for such a big prestige movie.
Well, like, so we've talked about this. We've talked about this on the show before. Is like we've already called that. I believe Lilo and Stitch is going to be $1 billion film. I think How You Train Your Dragon is going to be $1 billion film.
Probably,
And after the fiasco of Snow White and them saying that we're not going to do no more live action Disney adaptations, do you think if Lilo and Stitch hits $1 billion, they'll do another live action right after it?
They're going to get the wrong idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think these things like that fit into this weird category where the original movie is so recent that it's still within living memory anyway. It feels almost like a continuation rather than a remake. So it's a big difference between that and doing something like Snow White, where the original movie is, 90 years old or something. Like it's
almost 100.
Yeah, from so long ago that's not in living memory anymore, and it's like an iconic classic movie versus Lilo and Stitch, which is like a very modern contemporary thing, and it's just like
it came out in the mid 2000s. Came out in the mid 2000s.
And I remember it. Yeah, I remember it. Same with How to Train Your Dragon. Like, I don't remember those movies being huge necessarily, but they seem to have grown over time. And man, now if you go to like, is it Universal that are doing it? Isn't it? I think it is. Yeah, you go to Universal.
Yeah, How to Train Your Dragon is Universal. Yeah,
you go to their theme parks. There's that stuff is everywhere now. There's How to Train Your Dragon merchandise everywhere, and it's not just because of that movie coming out. It's just a huge brand that's somehow grown recently. So yeah, I don't know what it's going to do in terms of like Disney's policy for doing live action remakes of older stuff. Like I think they've gone through most of their big animated movies already. So I don't know what's
they got
left
sequels.
That's true. Yeah. Please do a Snow White 2. I dare you.
Oh boy, Snow that was horrendous.
I have to say that's probably one of the most ridiculous. I mean, so we had Drunk 3PO on here not too long ago, and I asked him this same question. I asked him this question about how Disney did not get rid of Rachel Zegler at all for the stupid takes that she had, but they got rid of Gina for just stating, her beliefs. And it's like it's at a point now. It's like what will Disney do at this point on because of Rachel Zegler? She definitely hurt the brand with her stupid takes, and this lawsuit's not helping them either.
Yeah. With Rachel Zegler, I don't think they're going to ever publicly like admonish her or anything like that. I think they'll just quietly shuffle her into obscurity. She won't get hired for new things, and she's probably declared radioactive in Hollywood. Like no casting agent with an ounce of brains is going to cast her in anything because they know how unpopular she is. I think her future is going to be, at least for the next 10 years, just doing musicals in like the West End of London or Broadway or something like that. Probably aren't very popular either.
Well, I might be wrong about this, but didn't she signed like a multi-year deal to do the Hunger Games? Like other sequels to the Hunger Games, even though it failed?
That would have been before this, so I don't know if they'll try and get out of that now. But like the one that she was in wasn't super successful financially. I think it did turn a profit because it wasn't all that expensive to make, but it wasn't blowing anyone's socks off. And I think it wasn't the success certainly wasn't because of her.
If you look at throughout her whole entire career, like she's always been in pretty much every movie that she goes in, it's a flop or it barely makes its money.
West Side Story, yeah.
Shazam 2,
flopped.
Yeah.
And she's not been in much, so yeah, you have to to have as shit a personality as her. You either have to be super hot, or you have to have had a blinding career up until this point. Like you have to be an A-lister, to be as arrogant as her, and she doesn't have either of those things. So yeah, man, like that, you get not many chances in Hollywood. Like they usually don't admit it publicly, particularly with someone like her, but they just won't hire her for stuff from now on.
For sure. Well, I guess we can pivot to the next question, Drinker. So, me and you were just talking about these foreign tariffs with Trump. So people don't get mad. I'm just asking the questions. I don't want to hear nothing like this. We ain't getting political. We asking a question about Trump's tariffs for the movie industry because, if you've been watching Chris Gore and how he's talking about Hollywood's about to be the next Detroit. What is your thoughts on that, Drinker, on the movie industry with these foreign tariffs?
Yeah, so I mean, there's obviously a lot of issues going on with the movie industry right now. It's how much time have you got? But in a nutshell, movies are way too expensive now. They're too bloated. They have very loose accounting for where all their money actually goes. I'm not entirely convinced that some of them aren't just money laundering schemes. But a lot of the time, they're dependent on tax rebates, which are not spoken about that much, and I think a lot of people don't even know that they exist, but they're actually a huge deal when it comes to your margins for financing a Hollywood movie. And so where you film it can have a huge impact on what your movie ultimately costs. And so this is why certain places like the UK or Canada or Eastern Europe, actually, when it comes to cheap action movies, they are very lucrative and very tempting places to go and shoot your film. Because you get a big tax rebate for it, labor costs are usually cheaper, and there's no cap on it, whereas there is in America. And so Americans have been kind of priced out of their own market. That's why a lot of things are not shot in California anymore, even though that's where Hollywood literally is. It would be a lot more convenient to shoot there. And the Californians are trying to get a bill passed where they're going to give a 35% tax rebate, and it's going to be unlimited. So it doesn't matter how expensive your movie is, how much money they have to give you back, they want to do it. But it has to get past all their legislature and all that stuff, and it takes forever. And I think these tariffs are a way of trying to force this situation, trying to get it to happen quickly. Whether it'll work, I don't know.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, a lot of people misinterpreted the whole thing anyway. It's that Trump wanted them to do more filming here in America, 100%. And this doesn't affect stuff coming into America if it's filmed outside of America, like anime and K-pop or whatever,
other
foreign stuff. This is to say, look, you guys have been going out of the United States. You're not creating jobs here. You're not going into these small areas where your business makes millions of dollars for each part of the United States you film at, and it's hurting our economy. And that's the reason why he done this, to say, okay, film here. There's plenty of land. Get your permits. Film here. Do it that way. And I just think a lot of people just misinterpret the language.
Yeah, because I mean, when he tries to word it in his tweet, he was kind of almost acting well, it was almost like any country that wants to try and get people to film in them is some sinister foreign agent that wants to destroy America. And it's okay, it's not like that. It's just about it's just like trying to create jobs. Everyone's trying to create jobs in their film industry, and that's how they do it. And so
anytime when he says tariff, that's when he's just saying like, let's make a deal. Come on, sit down, let's make a deal. Let's make a deal.
I said this in my video, and as far as I understand it, this is what he does with tariffs. Like, it's the threat of imposing them that he relies on rather than actually doing it. And it's just a negotiating tactic, and I'm sure that's what this is ultimately going to be. He's probably never actually going to implement these things, but he does want more American film productions to happen in actual America and not doing these weird little tax loopholes where you go and film your whole movie off in the UK or somewhere else just to save money. So, I mean, if it'll work, maybe, I don't know. But if it does, yeah, I know that like my country the film industry over here will definitely suffer because a lot of these big productions will no longer be filming here. And that is a big business now. Pinewood Studios is
it's
huge.
One of them. It's like 50-50. It's like, you know, we want to be able to help ourselves out, but like the moment like we take that business away from you, your guys' stuff goes down, and it's like, you know,
I mean, ultimately, someone always suffers, but like I think there's a bigger point about the general contraction of the film industry that we've been talking about for a while now, and it's come in the wake of like the strikes that have like imposed more difficult measures on the studios. It's coming in the wake of declining box office. Ticket prices are going up and up, but less people are going to the movie theaters now. They're watching at home or they're pirating it or whatever. All of these things are hurting them pretty bad. And you can only jack up ticket prices so much before it just becomes absurd. And they've reached that limit now. So I think part of the thing they have to address is they got to get their budgets down. They've got to start making more mid-budget movies. Look at something like The Creator, right? Cost $80 million. Big sci-fi action extravaganza. Looks $1 million. $1 million. It looks great, basically. But it was done on like a third of the cost of most other movies of that scale.
Same thing with Sinners. Sinners only was $90 million like for Sinners.
Yeah.
I mean, look,
and that doesn't even use much special effects either. Like, I guess Michael B. Jordan's an expensive actor to get. Well, a lot of the cast are pretty expensive, but yeah, I get your point.
Well, I mean, also look at look at Godzilla -1. It was made on peanuts, and it won the Academy Award for Best Visual Effects.
Yes.
And so I'm an 80s kid, so I was born in the late 70s, so I got to watch all the movies that came out during the 80s and the 90s. And budgets to those movies were under $100 million. A lot
easily.
of them less than that. And those
a lot of practical effects too.
Yeah, those movies actually hold up today compared to the stuff from 10 years ago.
Well, we reference because like the new Predator movie's coming out pretty soon, right towards the end of this year, I think. We referenced the original, right? That cost. That cost $15 million back in the day, right? And obviously that was the 80s, so inflation and stuff. It's probably more like 40 million in today's money, but still a $40 million movie. Yeah, that is dirt cheap. And look at the stars they got. Look how good it looks even now. Man, that's a lost art, man.
Now you got Whoopi Goldberg running around the jungle going after people. God, we played the trailer of that last week, and I'm like, this looks ridiculous. It's awful. I seen Prey. Prey was okay for me. I give it like a 4 out of 10. I mean, for me, it's like the Prometheus movies, right? With Alien. Shout out to Vagabond. Movies have got to the point where they literally go CGI heavy on this stuff. Go back to practical effects.
Yeah,
it's not that hard to make a puppet. It's not hard to make a puppet.
It's not, and it's like a time thing, I think, on principal photography, right? Because especially if you're doing, say, an action sequence, right, and you want to have a guy, I don't know, running through a room and everyone's shooting at him, and so you've got squibs and stuff going off, and the walls kind of exploding around him. That looks amazing when you see it, right? But like, if you fuck it up, you have to reset everything and do the whole thing again. That's days of shooting that's lost. And whereas, like now, they'll just say, well, you know what, we'll just put all that stuff in post. So we literally just need this guy to run across the room. There's not too many ways he can screw that up. And, you know, everything else will just get done CGI later. And it allows them to just toy with it endlessly. And it's sad because you lose so much as a result. You can tell how lightweight and fake it all looks, even now.
I mean, there is some good CGI, and there's some really, really god-awful CGI.
Yeah. Yeah.
The fact that Davy Jones from Pirates of the Caribbean looks better than like most of Ant-Man 3. That tells you something right there.
I spoke to a VFX artist, right, who was subcontracted by Marvel to do a whole bunch of movies. Like their VFX houses, they were based in Canada actually, like, and I think it was cheaper to use them. But like they use VFX places from all over the world. Like there's so many of them involved. But they said to me, the reason it mostly looks like dog shit today is because they keep redoing it, right? So they'll have rendered up a great VFX sequence, like for a certain, you know, action or fight scene or whatever, and it looks great because they put loads of time and effort into it. And then the director or like the studio will come back and say, no, we need to change it to, you know, X, Y, and Z. This all needs to be different. So, okay, we go and do that. And then they change it again, right? With barely any time to render everything to get it all finished. And that's why the end result looks like crap, because it's been redone like 5 times and they ran out of time in the end. And that's what they keep doing. They keep changing their minds because they rely on like focus groups. They rely on test screenings and stuff. And then they change everything later, not realizing how much time and work is needed to make it look good. And they told me actually they have a crying room set aside for people that have just lost their shit. They could just go in there and have a good cry and lose it for like 10 minutes.
Mickey Mouse makes you cry, people. It's official. It's official. Mickey Mouse makes people cry.
Yeah. Isn't it fascinating though? That's how they do movies now. It's sad, man.
So Chris got a chance to talk to the Saska sisters about Daredevil. What are your thoughts on Born Again, the disaster that show was?
Okay, so I'm gonna have to say, right, Mahler told me not to watch the rest of the show because I got like halfway through the season and I was just starting to lose the plot. I just thought, this is so boring. I can't watch Fisk go to any more therapy sessions with Vanessa. I don't care about Vanessa. This. And then and then he just says, like, you know what? It's not worth your time. Just forget about it. Don't bother watching the rest. And I said, all right, perfect.
I just want to say one. I just want to say one thing, Saskas. If you're watching, like, I still want you on the show, but I got questions. Like we got to talk. Like the next time I see y'all. Like,
my biggest thing about this, they've already did Born Again on Netflix. And they redid it for Disney Plus. And in season 3 of Daredevil, Netflix was awful. It was dog shit. And they redid the series again on Disney Plus. And from what I've seen, it was just as awful.
Is season 3 with the hand, or is that season 2?
Season 2 is with the hand. Season 2 was with the hand.
Season 2 is with the hand.
Yeah, see, I didn't like season 2 so much, but then I thought they pulled it back pretty well in season 3. I like that more than 2. 1 was the best, like by far.
Because season two was just basically, if it was Batman and Talia al Ghul, like if they were like as a couple, like taking on the League of Shadows or whatever. That's basically what season 2 of Daredevil was, or whatever. Me personally, I love season 2 though, like because you have the Punisher. I mean, you get like other people in there, so like So
the Punisher was the highlight for sure, and like seeing Bernthal, like he was just born to play that role, man.
Yeah, for sure. Is there a thing that you wanted to talk about, Last of Us or whatever, Phantom? Or
so let's talk about The Last of Us because
do we have to?
Yeah, well,
no, we can do it.
So there's been like a lot of people that were like talking about what happened with you in HBO when they hit your video. So could you talk about what happened?
Yeah, I mean I don't know how this blew up into some big like scandal, man. I was totally unaware of it, but Yeah, so I made my video. It released in the evening, as I usually do over here, and so it was performing fine. And I thought, right, job done. I'm going to drink myself into oblivion and then pass out for a few hours. So I did that, and then woke up the next day, and it's like got up and I just like you look at your phone, obviously, and see what updates come in. And I was getting messages from people like Jeremy from Geeks and Gamers saying like, "Oh, bro, what's happened to your video? Like, you must be raging at HBO." And I was like, "Wait, what? What's happening?" And then I looked at my emails and it's like, yeah, sure enough, your video's been, claimed, like copyright claimed.
Demonetized.
Yeah, well, demonetized and blocked. Like demonetized is one thing. It's like, okay, that's inconvenient. But when it's blocked completely, that's when people notice. And so, sure enough, I got messages from a bunch of people and then realized like, shit, man, like people have started making videos about this already, like saying, the Drinkers channel's had a copyright strike, HBO's attacking him and stuff. It was a little bit over dramatized.
Whoa.
It was just like claim. So I was able to just do the usual thing, put in the dispute and stuff, and then try and fight it. And what did I do then? I knew like if I put something on Twitter, it'll attract attention, and so I did that. And sure enough, like, within a couple hours, like the claim was released, and then they released also their demonetization on it as well, and so it went back to normal. But that's fine. I can do that because I've got like a big channel and a lot of reach, so it's fine for me. That's nice. But like normal people who dare to criticize them can't do that, and that's what pissed me off because they pick on people. That's all they'll do. Like you dare to criticize their show, like they'll threaten you with demonetization or they'll hit you with a copyright claim, and a lot of people will get scared of that and just not challenge it because they don't want to like risk a strike on their channel. That's the thing.
Yes, that's one of the reasons why we haven't really talked about The Last of Us on here, because we don't want to get hit with that stuff, and we wanted to show like the trailer and stuff and talk about Joel's death from a couple weeks ago, and it's like, I mean, a lot of people are like, hey, don't touch that shit. Just don't touch it. It's cancer.
You can, I mean, you can talk about it, and like, it's just be careful about how much you show. Like, you're fine with still images and all that stuff. It's just like you show too much footage. And to be fair, like I think if it's a small channel and it's not got as much reach, it maybe won't attract as much attention, so they might just not notice it. So you'd probably be all right because it should be called out. That's the thing. Like, if the show is not telling a good story, then it should be okay to say that.
Well, nothing's above criticism. I mean, we criticize Agatha. We went after the Acolyte, which episode 5 is the best episode because everybody dies.
We even talk about people. We even call out people in our own circle sometimes. It's like you got to stay accountable. So I mean, nobody's above criticism, not even us whatsoever. So if you guys have a problem with this, call us out, and then we can at least talk about it.
As long as it's as long as it's done in like good, good faith, like good faith criticisms, then it's like, well, fine. You can't argue with that, really.
Well, so we're gonna pivot a little bit more. So, what are your thoughts on Superman, the Superman stuff?
Superman. Okay, so I'd be lying if I said I was like super pumped up to watch another Superman movie. I'm not really convinced by what what they're doing with DC on film. James Gunn is definitely in his comfort zone when he's doing like team up movies, a group of misfits that have to work together and overcome some problem, right, with conflicted personalities and all that, and a little bit edgy and probably put in a lot of licensed music because he loves his music. Superman's a different beast though, and I think you need that kind of earnestness that Superman is all about, and I just don't know if that's really James Gunn's style. So the worry is it's going to be like really subversive and trying to put his own unique spin on it. People don't want that. I mean, the trailer makes it look okay. I'm not, when I saw like that 5 minutes of the movie that they released, I was less enthused by it, by the stupid robots and stuff. Like, I don't know. My overall feeling is just I'm gonna wait and see with this one, which I know is not like a great definitive answer, but like I don't know enough one way or the other to say like this looks like it's gonna be garbage or this looks amazing. I think though these two movies, Fantastic Four and Superman, I think they're gonna get cannibalized by Jurassic World when all three of them come out in
Same.
July. I honestly
I've been
think Jurassic
calling it.
World will outperform them.
I think Jurassic World's gonna win this thing. Like to
Yeah.
me, like in the battle of the box office. That's what I'm calling it. The battle of the box office. I think the dinosaurs is gonna win this thing because.
And for both of these franchises, right?
Yeah.
For Marvel and DC, so much rests on these two movies. They've already had Captain America: Brave New World has flopped. Thunderbolts is on the way to flopping as well. If Fantastic Four can't work, if they can't make that successful, where do they even go from here? Like that's all of their tentpole movies for the year done. And with DC, James Gunn's reputation as the new face of DC, as the new creative force behind it, rests on this movie. If Superman fails,
so this is my rebuttal to the whole entire because I like James Gunn's work, however, and I just watched the season 2 trailer of Peacemaker 2 that just dropped about literally an hour before you got on, so I watched that and it looks pretty good or whatever. But to me, and this is what I've been telling people, although James Gunn has his ways, the man does know how to do superhero stuff or whatever. Like he got us to sympathize over a raccoon, getting killed or whatever, or getting hurt or whatever. So like, I mean, is he cocky? Sure. But like, does he have the right to be a little bit? Yeah, because like he made like a whole bunch of successful stuff and everything. So that's why I just say like most of his stuff is either really good or watchable or whatever. Like, there's haven't been something that I haven't like said like, oh, this absolutely sucks or whatever. Hell, I even love his Scooby-Doo movies because he has balls enough to make Scrappy the villain, which he rightfully is. I don't like Scrappy-Doo, by the way.
Scrappy-Doo was an asshole in the cartoon back when I was a kid, but yeah, man, with James Gunn, it's almost like the worse the heroes are or the more obscure they are, the better he seems to do with them because there's like so little expectation on him. And like nobody had heard of Guardians of the Galaxy before he made them a success. I mean, comic book fans obviously knew about it, but mainstream audiences never heard of them. Somehow he turned that into a massive success. And things like Peacemaker, that's definitely his comfort zone. He had a lot of fun with that. And Peacemaker is good. It was a good show. I liked it. I had a lot of fun with it.
I loved it. It was funny, man. Like
it shows John Cena has got this crazy talent for comedy, man. It's just like deadpan, really dry humor, but he does it. He makes it work.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you got to think he was a professional wrestler for several years, so he's got the acting chops.
I mean, but wrestlers turned actors. I mean, that can be pretty dicey. Like, I mean, we've seen Hulk Hogan movies back in the day; they weren't great. I mean, The Rock is obviously the success story. He's the benchmark for like wrestlers who turn actors. Like,
Piper, you got to remember Piper because
he did. They live, And Hell Comes to Front.
Which I have both movies. I love Hell Comes to Frogtown. It's probably my favorite Piper movie.
I mean, They Live, man. That's a lot of fun. I did like that one.
Yeah, but, for sure.
So like I've had multiple rants on here about them recasting Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. And I made a statement like a few months ago. I'm like, they're literally doing a version of Tony Stark that never went into the cave that became Dr. Doom. That's what we're getting. Right. That is what we're getting.
Yeah, Chris Claremont.
I was so angry about that.
Yeah, Chris Claremont, basically the guy that made all the good X-Men stories. Like, if you don't know who Chris Claremont is, you comic book readers, just go look up some of his stuff. Like, he gave you the Phoenix Saga, Apocalypse, Magneto's backstory. Like, he was just spoiling all his Secret Wars at a convention. He didn't care about no NDAs. He said and so he basically was saying that there's going to be like 3 versions of everybody. Like, it's going to have all these cameos and all. Listen, this movie doesn't even have a script yet. And I don't know, man. I don't got faith in the Secret Wars like that, or Doomsday like that.
That
But it's still gonna
announcement
make
where
$1
it was
billion
just,
though.
it probably will, and that's the sad thing, because that announcement where it was just like, "Hey, look at all the people we've got in it that you recognize." That's it. That's all it is. That's all it like is banking on, just nostalgia.
Well,
And
I mean,
that's
you also gotta look at it this way. They're playing off of Deadpool Wolverine. Deadpool
Yeah.
Wolverine was
They,
it was the first under Marvel of the banner of Marvel to hit $1 billion since Endgame.
yeah. So I mean
that's a Fox project.
yeah, exactly. That was like, yeah, I get what you mean. Like, it was kind of banking on the nostalgia for the old X-Men movies and stuff. And seeing Hugh Jackman come back, obviously everyone's going to like that. That's a crowd pleaser. And, you know, him and Ryan are good buddies. So just seeing them together on screen is quite fun. And yeah, then you get the cool little cameos, but they were like in addition to the actual movie having a story. You know, it wasn't like all predicated on that. And yeah, like that moment where Wesley Snipes shows up as Blade and everyone's like, holy shit, this is cool.
There's only one Blade.
Yeah, exactly.
There can only be one Blade.
Yeah.
I want to ask you,
line.
before we continue, do you believe that the reason why they are not doing the Blade with Mahershala Ali, they're going to do one Wesley Snipes?
I hope they do. I if they've got any ounce of common sense, they would do a Blade 4. Just old man
We're
Blade.
talking Disney here.
Yeah, they've got no common sense. But yeah, if they wanted to make a ton of money, just do Blade 4. Get Wesley Snipes back. He's still got it, man. He could get in shape for doing one more Blade. And round out his story.
So Drinker, like there was like a little meme. You know Homelander off of The Boys, right? You know how he's sitting in the movie theater. Like they said that how Kevin Feige was looking when he was watching Ryan Coogler make Sinners or whatever, say that I could have got him to do that Blade movie. Like he's like,
yeah. It's brilliant. And yeah, man, like, because I don't know, I'm one of those people, like, I didn't love Creed necessarily. I thought like they recycled so many plot beats from the original Rocky, and I think Michael B. Jordan as an actor was still coming into his own, so he was a little bit stiff and a bit wooden at times. But this is like both of them matured as creators, where like Sinners, Michael B. Jordan just
I love Sinners,
radiates charisma in that.
It's like, freaking good, man.
Fire. Yeah. Creatively brilliant. Like some of those like blues numbers where like you get the crazy like kaleidoscope of like, different musicians from past and future and stuff all together. Amazing sequences.
I ain't gonna lie, man. I'll be listening to the Dublin song, like the Irish song, like
Stuff's addictive, man. It really is.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute. Like, listen, I got a Scottish plug. I got a lot of homies in Scotland, but like, I'm getting to my Irish side right now, man. Like, that song was pretty good or whatever. So, like, I love how that story happened. Like, you know, they were just showing you the differences, like different cultures on how their music works or where they come from. It was not really like a divisive movie. It was just showing you, like, you know, they were honoring the horror tropes with the vampires or whatever. Like, you know, they respected the lore with that. But like, they also just, I mean, who's gonna feel sympathy for a bunch of like KKK vampires, man? I like that last scene where he straight up, like Michael B. just straight up like,
well,
you got a Tommy gun as well. It's great.
Yeah.
You know, at least if this movie would have been based in modern times, Sinners would have failed. 100%, it would have failed. But it's being a period piece of the 20s. The racism worked for this movie, and I have to give props for them saying, "Okay, we're going to set it in this time period. We're not going to make it modern day because we know it would fail in a heartbeat."
Well, and I think as well, it works as a great focal point for the music, because that's really the origin of blues music. It goes back to the 20s and 30s, and that's where it like really came to the fore. And so, like, well, it makes sense historically then, but also it's a cool period. It's a period of like gangsters and Tommy guns and all that stuff, and the time when that kind of like the racism and like the KKK and like even like the leftovers from slavery was still kind of within living memory. So all of it comes together into like just this perfect mesh of a good story.
And what I loved about this movie was, it's like, even though the cast was majority black, it was not like a they're a black cast. No, they're just they're cast that just happened to be all black or whatever. Well, a couple of like Asians and of course Haley Steinfeld or whatever. But for the most part, like people love the movie. So therefore, if I'm just saying, like, I guess the racists took a day off or something like to not support this movie. Like,
and it's almost like, if you make good movies, people will go see them. And like clearly, like Ryan Coogler had things he wanted to say about like racism and black culture and all that stuff. But it doesn't batter you over the head with it. It's all wrapped up into a great story with great characters, great performances, and great actors. And all of that stuff works. Great, like people will like it and people will watch it. That's how you make it work. And yeah, like apparently the guy who played Sammy in that was his first ever acting gig. He'd never done anything before.
He was good.
Damn,
he was good.
About, like
I've seen the
starting
clips.
strong.
Yeah.
He's good. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Delroy Lindo. He was in everything in the 90s and the 2000s. He was everywhere.
Yeah.
And then like,
I'm glad that he came back.
Years. Yeah.
He looks the same. He might be a vampire.
He's barely aged.
I mean, the last movie I seen him in had to be The One with Jet Li and Jason Statham.
That's early 2000s, isn't it? Or
Dang, that's old, man. I remember The One. Woo, man. I remember that movie. Man, that's a long time ago.
I mean, like for myself, I love vampire movies, and I mean, when I heard Sinners and I got to look at, so somebody uploaded it to YouTube from the high season, so I got a chance to watch it. And I have to say, it is probably one of the best adaptations of a vampire movie we've had in years. Screw Twilight.
Yeah.
Set that on fire and put it in a freaking stove and let it burn up. Screw vampires are not disco balls. But
it's not often that vampire movies do the whole they have to be invited in, right? Most of the time they just overlook that and it gets ignored. But like that's a major part of like vampire lore, and like it's worked into the story pretty well. And yeah, it's just funny when like you can tell how hard they're trying to get invited in. Like like the big guy who's like the doorman, where he just disappears for a while.
Cornbread. Cornbread.
Yeah. And he's just like, oh well, I'm back now, so just invite me in and we're good to go. And they're like, wait.
No. But one of my favorite parts of Drinker is like when the vampires first showed up, and like you see the three white people come up to a whole entire black saloon, and like they basically say, "The fuck, what you doing here?" Like,
yeah, they're trying to like politely say like, "I don't think this is your kind of place. Maybe you should try somewhere else."
You probably can. There's a whole entire thing right up there. Like, but a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people get offended about that scene. I'm like, dude, that's just how it was back in the day. Because, like, I mean, just going based off of history, it's like there've been times where like there were black people that were just minding their own business, and then Caucasian folk at that time used to be lying. And then like you get a brother hung, so like that's just the way it is. So that's why they were kind of like that at that time and everything. I mean, that's just the history, unfortunately, or whatever. Like,
if any of those black characters had wanted to go to like a white club or something like that, they would have been turned away. They wouldn't have got let in.
Yeah.
So like, why should they let them in? And also, like, they probably were thinking as well, particularly from Smoke and Stack's point of view, because they owned the place.
Yeah.
We let these guys in. There's probably going to be trouble.
They can lie,
right?
Yeah, they can lie. They can lie on us and everything, and then like they can burn down our whole entire establishment and everything. Yeah,
so it totally makes sense to just say, "Nah, I think you guys should find somewhere else." Like, I think that totally makes sense.
Okay, so somebody asked me this question. I'm going to ask you this question, Drinker. How do you like your steak?
Medium rare.
There you go.
There you go, Isaac. You loser.
I don't like it to be bloody. I like it bloody in the middle, but I like it pink, so then you can taste it properly.
Shout out to Isaac, man. Well, Drinker, we got a minute left with you, man. Is there anything that you want to plug or anything that you want to say? Like, since you have an hour, want to be here for an hour.
Yeah, well, I will say, stay tuned on Monday, because we've got something coming up with Eric July and the Rippaverse that you guys might be interested in. So that's all I can say right now, but it should be pretty interesting, and hopefully it's going to make a bit of a stir when we announce it. So that's going to be Monday afternoon or Monday morning for you guys.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. Well,
Yeah.
I just want to say this, drinker man. Like, thank you for coming on. And it's just been a honor being here with you. So, like, you got anything for him, Phantom, before we all three leave or whatever?
No, I just say it's been an honor to talk to you, sir. I've been a long time fan, been working in your chats for a long time, and it's just been so great to finally get to talk to you. And you're welcome back at any time. At any time. This has been a phenomenal show. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you, guys. It's been a real pleasure to hang with you. So thank you.
So all I got to shout out is we have our anime show Saturday night, and that's pretty much it.
I'm done. Like, that's it. Like, anime show. That's it, guys. Yeah. Tune in next week for our Thursday show. But guys, anybody that's about to if you guys just hit the like button or subscribe button, I highly recommend June the 12th, episode 50. Like, I'm just gonna say it like that. Episode 50. Like, tune in. Like Drinker's a huge person out here, but the guy that we got coming up, like, I'm just saying, just tune into episode 50. All right, fam, take us out of here.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody. No outro music. We'll see you guys later. Have a good evening and happy Mother's Day to all the mothers in America this Sunday.
Go away now.